Hello. It's another video for Side Quest Ramblings, and today we're going over D&D. I thought next step of sort of discussing it is why don't I go over the making of a character. Now, for this, I'm going to be looking at D&D Beyond. I'm not going to go into the full in-depth thing, because I think I'm just going to break it up into like short couple-minute videos for each part of making it. But for right now, this is the video on how to read one. So we're going to look at the pre-made ones on D&D Beyond. Now you have the new ones from the most recent edition. Then you also have the 5e. So for this, we'll look at the 5e, and we'll do the most basic of basics. Let me just make sure this is 5e. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 5e. So for reading a character sheet, first and foremost is the character sheet. This pre-made character is Vendros Euphrates. Now, here are your ability scores. Now, this is something where I'll make a separate thing, but you roll your ability scores, or you do point by. There's a couple different ways of doing it, and we'll do that in a different video here. But each of these impact your skills, and your skills are here. Each of them have a different ability score that they are connected to, and that affects how much of a modifier you get on your rolls. So let's say an example. Your DM asks you, go ahead and give me a perception check to see if you can see if you can notice if there's any presence around you in the woods. And you're like, okay, wisdom. Go here on Beyond, you can just find it easily and roll it here. But you would look at your wisdom, which here it's a +1. It's a 13 +1, which means you get a +1 to your perception, but also you add in your proficiency bonus, which is right here. So what that means is 2 + 1 + 3. So your wisdom roll here is a +3. So then you would roll your dice, and whatever you get, you'd add +3. So I got a 20, so that means it was 17 on the die. And that's how each of these skills checks work. And they have which of the modifiers it uses: dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, strength. Strength is also used for certain weapons to try to hit enemies with, so is dexterity. Ranged weapons use dexterity. Besides that, strength uses athletics, and that's it for strength. Constitution doesn't have any skills, but it helps determine your overall health and your saving throws. So you have these skills here. That's what you're mostly going to be rolling when you try to take actions or do something. And for your saving throws, they're right here. These are the type of things you'd have to roll as sort of a reactive instance. Or there's a rock slide, and you have to avoid the rocks. Well, dexterity saving throw. Someone casts a spell on you. Well, you need to roll either charisma, wisdom, intelligence, or dex or strength, depending on the spell, to avoid the spell hitting you or it taking effect on you. Each of these saves do a different thing, but that's basically what that is. Your walking speed is just how many feet you can move in a combat turn. And you can use it also just like in general, but probably better just to really focus on that being for in combat. Got your health here. Your initiative. Now, whenever you get into combat, you're going to roll this initiative. Your initiative is decided by a couple things, but depending on what your subclass is and things of that nature. But for the most part, it is your dexterity modifier. So the initiative here is a +3. My dex is a +3. So that's how my initiative's decided, and that's just determines the order you go in D&D. So if I rolled a 5 on initiative and my buddy or an enemy rolled a 6 or 7, they would go before me on the turn order. Now here we have the additional senses, passive insight, passive investigation, passive perception. Those are just, instead of having you actively roll for something, this is something where if your passive skills here are good enough to notice something, the DM will tell you so. So instead of it being like, hey, go ahead and roll to see if you can sense a presence, or if the player's like, hey, can I roll to see if anyone's following us? You could do that. Or DM can say, hey, with your 13 passive perception, you notice eyes in the forest looking at you. So you can do that kind of each way. There is the rule of thumb for passive abilities is 10 plus your modifier. So passive perception, your perception is +3, so 10 plus 3. Investigation, ain't got nothing from investigation, so it's just a 10. Insight, you got +1, so that's it for 10 plus 1. Your proficiency bonus does increase as you level up, and you're able to also increase your ability scores as you level up. Now, when you make your character, you can choose what things you're proficient in. Usually it's limited, so you could have like maybe, if you're lucky, up to 5 depending on your class and backstory and everything, but you're not going to be able to get proficient in all these skills unless you actively are trying to do that. Now, looking over here, you have your actions, which breaks up kind of everything you can do for your character. You have your attack, so inventory-wise, when you have a longbow, for attacking, so you would use that to attack. You roll to hit 23. That's pretty good. So if I pass the AC of the opponent I'm targeting, I hit. There is a sort of, depends on each group and how they roll it. I personally do, if you have to beat the 14, so like I'd say you have to roll at least a 15 to get hit. So when I have to roll a 15 to get hit you. But some people do it meets beats, which means, hey, if I reach 14, I get through your defense and you take damage. So unarmed strike, you can use your fists, just depending on your strength, usually. So that's why it's a +4, because proficiency plus strength. Now actions include stuff not tied to necessarily just attacking. You can take all these things in combat, but also out of combat. Dash. You instead of attacking, you use your action to double your speed. Disengage. Use your action to leave an enemy's range to not get a hit trying to escape. Dodge gives you a boost to your AC, I think, or disadvantage on attack rolls against you. Can't remember at the moment. Grapple is when you try to grapple someone, give them a grapple condition. Help someone, give them advantage on something. Hide, try to hide from someone. And then a lot of these are just things that you can sort of just do. Bonus actions are a specific kind of thing that aren't actions, but you can still do them. You have your action, your bonus action, and a reaction. So you'd use your action on your turn, then you can also use your bonus action. And then during times when it's not your turn, you have one reaction that you can use. So the most common thing is opportunity attack. So if someone who's in your melee range leaves it, you can attack them, and that's your reaction. Then you have the other stuff, which is like interacting with objects. Usually you can do that like sort of for free, unless it's something that requires a lot of focus, I guess. Then you have your limited use, which shows you the things that you can only really use once a day or once rest, depending on the rests. Okay. We have the stuff you're proficient with here, proficiencies and trainings, the armor you're proficient with, the weapons, the tools, the languages. That's all just gonna be right here. And you have inventory, which shows you everything you're carrying. So we actually were carrying greatsword, we just didn't have it equipped. So we could equip that. And you have the place where you could do attunement items. That's kind of later, though. Later game. Yeah, that's all your equipment, but it is segmented here. And you have your gold here. Like how much money and stuff you have, and you can add to it depending on if you do a job or quest. Your features and traits. So it breaks off into your class stuff. So like as you level up in your class, those options will show up here. Your species traits, so what you chose out for your species and what your species gets. Then feats, which are these sort of special features that can help in. There's so many different feats that they can help you in so many different ways. You can get that if you choose a specific species that gives you a feat from jump, or you can get it when you have your ability score improvement choices as you level up. Like you get your first one at level 4 and things like that. The background, which you kind of pick that out when you make your character. And that's kind of what the notes are for also. It helps you fill in stuff where it's like, okay, you're someone I need to remember. Then extras, you can actually do this by like adding in like creatures and stuff. I technically don't have this character. I'm just looking at the pre-made because I haven't claimed him yet. But yeah, that's how you read a character sheet. That's basically everything except for these last 3 things. Heroic inspiration. Some things can give you inspiration now, I guess, the newest edition. I don't fully remember. But that's also something where your DM can give you inspiration. Basically lets you reroll something. Defense. So this is where you're gonna see things where if you're resistant to a certain type of damage, it'll be listed there, and that means you only take half the damage you would usually take. Immunity shows you what you're immune to. If you're immune to a specific type of damage or condition, that won't affect you. Vulnerabilities, that means basically the opposite of resistance, where it's like, okay, you're weaker to this thing, so you'll take double the damage a normal person would. And conditions, these are things like blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, grappled, all kinds of stuff. Some good, most of them are bad. And that'll heavily affect battle situations and other things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it on how to read it. I would go in further with like each thing, but I think that's enough, and it's kind of better to space out this information. So, I mean, I will see you guys next time where we go over into the actual character builder, building these characters. Now, if you want to use D&D Beyond, type in D&D Beyond on YouTube, not YouTube, on the internet, and you'll get to it. You just make an account, and then bada bing, bada boom, you can make your free characters. I will say a lot of stuff is behind. I'll say a paywall, but it's really just like, okay, you have to buy the content that you want to be able to have your characters use. There's the free stuff for the basics, but if you want more than that, you have to buy it or have someone that you're friends with share it with you in a campaign on D&D Beyond. But you can make an account for free, and you can make 5 characters for free. And if you like it enough, you could buy one of the subscription services to let you make unlimited characters or be a DM or do all kinds of stuff on it. I use D&D Beyond because it's a lot easier to manage everything. And I mean, that's just kind of my opinion. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I will see you guys next time.